3 of the Total Drama and Dispenser Camp Randomized Cast series. So this is World Tour, and Rosa and Pete are in this season now. So yeah. So I think that, yeah. So in episode 1, teams are formed or whatever. And then the Egypt challenge, this team would probably lose because they don't really work well with each other. And Dakota and Caleb would get along, and Sammy and Miles would get along. And then Pete and Stephanie would not get along with anyone. So I think that, so yeah, they obviously vote Stephanie first. But Chris announces that it's actually a double elimination. So then I think that these two would vote Miles, these two would vote Pete, and I think Pete would also vote Miles. So then Miles and Stephanie are out. So the Japan challenge, so I think that Team Amazon will win the first challenge, but this team would win the second challenge, and then this team would lose. And I think so. Raj and Aiden would still be fighting from last season, but Brooke would be trying to what the heck? Sorry guys. So I think that Brooke would try to stop them and stuff. And yeah, and then Ennui and Yule would make an alliance, and they would both vote Aiden. And yeah, and then Raj would vote Aiden, and Aiden would vote Raj, and then Brooke would vote Yule, but that's 3 votes against Aiden. So then Aiden is out. And then the Yukon challenge. So yeah. So this team would work better, and so Miriam would try to be nicer since her first season when she wasn't really nice. And her and Damien would share their traumas and stuff or whatever. And yeah, and Damien would be more confident and get over his fears. And then these 3 it would be in an alliance and friendship or whatever. And then Team Victory, Caleb and Dakota get along really well. And Sammy wants to get along with Dakota, but she can't because these 2 are too close to each other. And then Pete is just a bitch. And yeah. And then Team Chris is really, really, really hot. Raj would kind of be sad that Aiden's gone, but also happy, but also sad. And Brooke would comfort him. Yule and Ennui would still be in an alliance. In the Yukon challenge, this team wins. And then I think that this team would also win. And then, and then Pete would make Sammy convince Dakota to vote out Caleb since he's a threat. But Caleb would say no hard feelings, and then they would kiss. And then the New York challenge, I think that Team Amazon would win the reward. And I don't think any of them would be stupid enough to throw out the meat grinder like Heather was. And yeah. And then, yeah, so on Team Victory, Sammy and Dakota are getting along better, while Pete is still trying to control Sammy and stuff. And then on Team Chris is really hot. Raj and Brooke would get more close together. And yeah. And Yule and Ennui would still be in an alliance. And they would try to convince Raj to be in their alliance, but he doesn't want to be. And then the Germany challenge, I think that this team would win part 1. And then, yeah. and then Team Victory would lose. And yeah. And Pete would try to convince Sammy to vote off Dakota, but she doesn't want to because she likes Dakota. And then Pete would be eliminated. And then the Amazon challenge. I think these two would probably win. And then Team Amazon would lose, but it's okay because it's not a non-elimination challenge. Then in Paris, I think that these two would actually work really well together and win. And then this team would get second. Then Team Chris is really, really hot would, yeah. So these two would vote off Yule, and then Yule and Ennui would vote off Raj. And then it would be a tiebreaker, and it would be like the fashion show like it was in the original, and Raj would lose. And then the Scottish challenge, weekend, whatever, I think that Team Victory would be working really well, but this team Yule and Ennui would try to convince them to fail, but they would still win the challenge and the reward. But this team would lose, but it's okay because it's a non-elimination round. And then the Jamaican challenge, this team would probably lose. And yeah, so Sammy and Dakota are really sad because one of them has to leave. But Yule actually rigged the challenge so that they would lose. And Brick would find out about it and be pissed off or whatever. And then Team Amazon Team Amazon, these three would still be an alliance, and then these two would form an alliance. And then I think that Dakota would probably just leave because she doesn't want Sammy to leave. And then the London challenge. So, also a comeback, and I think that it would probably be Stephanie, since in the original is the first person to be voted out, and she was the first person to be voted out. So now Team Victory has a new member, but they wouldn't work together. But I think that Stephanie would still win or whatever. And yeah, then Team Chris is really, really hot, would probably lose, and then they would vote out Rick. And then the Grease challenge. Nothing really happens in this challenge. And then the Area 51. I think that Team Amazon would probably lose because, yeah. And Team Victory will win, and Team Chris is really hot will get second. And yeah, I think these three would probably vote off Miriam. And yeah. And then Miriam and Damien hug, and Damien says that he's going to win this season. Then the Australian challenge, this team would win, and then this team would probably lose, and then Sammy would lose in a tiebreaker. And then the Sweden challenge, it doesn't matter. And then the comeback. And then the comeback challenge. Oh, I don't know what that was. So I think that it's just gonna be a new person or someone. I don't really know. Generator chose Fiore, and then everyone be confused why a little girl is in the challenge or whatever. So yeah, and so Yul and Ennui would still be in the alliance, and they would convince Stephanie to join the alliance, and also they would think that Fiore would be gullible and stuff to join their alliance, but they don't know that she's actually a bitch. And yeah, so then Lake, these three would still be in an alliance, and Damien would be on his own, but he would convince Yul and the others to join their alliance. And yeah, so now the Niagara Falls, Yul and Ennui, they would be a pair. And then Stephanie and Damien, Lake and Rosa, and then these two. And I think that these two would probably win. And yeah, so this alliance, they would probably vote out Jasmine. Oh wait, sorry. Darn it. Sorry, guys. Merge. Okay, so now it's merge. I forgot. I accidentally put it in the comeback thing. So then the Chinese challenge. So I think that, Damien, would probably face his fear and like win the challenge. And yeah, so then Stephanie, and yeah, so then the alliance would probably vote out Lake. Well, they would say to vote out Lake, but Fiora would already get angry with these people because they're kind of stupid and stuff, and her and Stephanie would get in a fight and stuff, and so then the alliance is split. So Stephanie and Ennui, they vote Fiore, but Fiore and these three vote Stephanie, and yeah, Rosa votes Stephanie, and she votes Yul. So then yeah, and so it would be a tie between these two, and Chris would just send them both out because he would get annoyed with them. Then the Safari challenge. So I think that Damien would win this challenge because yeah. And then I think that Ennui would get fed up with Yul and they would vote Yul. And then this challenge doesn't matter. Then this challenge, I think that Lake would find the oil or whatever. And then yeah, and then these two would vote out Damien would vote out Rosa, and Ennui would vote out Damien, and then these two vote out Ennui. And then the semifinals, I think that Lake would win, and it would be a tie between these two. I think that that Damien would win, and then I think that Lake would win the whole challenge. See you guys in part 4.